Part 13. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 121. Duanlei looked at Wang Feng and shrugged his shoulders, then don't say it, I don't think there is anything disgusting. Didn't you also say that you can even eat zombie meat? I'm just talking. I didn't really eat it, Wang Feng muttered. Okay. Then I will take them with me, but I will have to check the situation of the turtle and bring it back if I have a chance. If it might alarm the other big guy, forget it. You can control this yourself. Also, should we set up a checkpoint or something on the other side of the bridge? At least put that car and let people watch over there, so that we don't know if anyone comes to our side. Duanlei suggested. That's no problem. Starting tomorrow, I will have people keep watching over there. In addition, the search in the entire Heilong City area will also be accelerated. After all exploration is completed, we will establish a pass at the Heilong Bridge. In the future, we will. That's the gateway. Wang Feng nodded. Are you sure you want to use that place as your portal? Duanlei looked at Wang Feng seriously. What? No, Wang Feng was stunned. Of course, but if that's the case, I have to reconsider the transformation of this Bishui community and not spend a lot of resources here, because originally I wanted to use this Bishui community as the main base and try to build it into a defensive fortress. Comes out. Duanlei explained. No need to reconsider, just build it like this. Wang Feng immediately decided. The Black Dragon Bridge doesn't use too many resources, it's just a wall, and this will be our core base in the future. We can build it as strong as we can. How sturdy? I just want to build a barrier at the Black Dragon Bridge to prevent the zombies from attacking in the future. I just want to not put it inside. It is narrower and easier to defend. And our enemies in the future will not only be zombies, but mutated beasts are what we need to guard against the most. The bird that attacked me almost killed me. If it were not for the flesh, I would have become the bird's food. Rutu, Duanlei was stunned. That's the cat? Ting Ting named it Rura, saying it loves to eat meat. Wang Feng explained and said, actually, I think the defense of this community should not only consider the ground, but also prepare some air defense forces, otherwise you will be very passive if you are attacked by some mutant bird beast in the future. Yeah. Even if you don't tell me, I know this. Lao Lu already told me about you being captured by a bird. Duanlei nodded. Is everything okay? I'm going to rest first. Wang Feng nodded. After Duanlei turned around and took 2 steps, he suddenly turned back, looked at Wang Feng and said, you'd better let go of the burden you have placed on yourself, otherwise, you will go further and further away. Then, Duanlei he nodded to Wang Feng and returned to his room. Wang Feng was stunned there. He knew that he had changed a bit recently and that he didn't even recognize himself, especially when it came to dealing with the Green Island camp. In fact, Wang Feng is also aware of his own changes, because at the beginning, he was just one person. At most, together with Duanlei and the others, the total did not exceed double digits. With Apocalypse, Wang Feng did not think that they would be able to survive in the end of the world. There is something difficult to face. But after the battle at Black Dragon Bridge, there were tens of thousands of people around him, and these people were all planning to follow him in the future. Although Wang Feng could not see anything on the surface, the pressure in his heart suddenly amplified 10,000 times. If there were so many people who had nothing to do with him, then Wang Feng wouldn't care what they did to them, especially in the early morning when he stood on the rooftop and looked at the tens of thousands of people busy below. The joy on the survivors' faces. Wang Feng felt that he had a heavy responsibility. He felt that since he had given these people hope for the future, he could not take this hope away from them again. He must protect these people who relied on him. This is why he could easily let Wu Yongqing go at that time, but later killed all Lu Qing's gang. The big reason was that when he was on the rooftop, he carried a burden that contained the dreams of tens of thousands of people. This burden made his way of dealing with things begin to change to Lu Feng's way, that is, once he thinks that the other party is an enemy, he must kill them all without leaving any further trouble. Duan Lei only felt this after listening to Wang Feng's narration. However, Duan Lei breathed a sigh of relief that in the end Wang Feng did not abandon the survivors of the Black Wolf camp and brought them all back. This shows that Wang Feng's original intention is not lost, but he is just a little confused. Therefore, Duan Lei just lightly reminded Wang Feng when he left, instead of specifically discussing or persuading him on this matter. Duan Lei believed that after he pointed out the changes in Wang Feng would be able to figure out for himself what kind of path he would take in the future. Early the next morning, Wang Feng walked out of the bedroom and happened to see Duan Lei doing military gymnastics in the living room. He sighed and said, "You can do this for a week without feeling tired." "But then I will feel hungry." Duan Lei turned his head and glanced at Wang Feng, finally relaxed and turned around to continue doing his military gymnastics. Seeing the smile on Wang Feng's face, Duan Lei knew that Wang Feng had figured it out, and Duan Lei didn't do military gymnastics to exercise. As Wang Feng said, he wouldn't feel any pain even if he did these movements for a week. Tired? Duan Lei just feels that when he is doing military gymnastics, his mind will be calmer and he can think about things more clearly, so now Duan Lei is doing military gymnastics and sorting out all the things he has to deal with today. Seeing that Duan Lei ignored him, Wang Feng simply went to the bathroom to wash up. He said he was washing up, but in fact he just washed his face in a basin. After all, the water had long been cut off. "Is there a canteen?" After washing his face hastily, Wang Feng walked out of the bathroom and asked Duan Lei. "There is a bag of biscuits and a bottle of water distributed at the entrance of the club. Don't you have 2 big steamed buns over there? Why don't you go and eat steamed buns and ask about this?" Duan Lei answered while doing military gymnastics. Big steamed buns. Wang Feng was stunned for a moment, but when he saw Duan Lei's suppressed smile, he understood instantly and kicked Duan Lei in the air. "Get out of here, uncle." The big steamed buns Duan Lei mentioned are at Lu Wanting's place, but Wang Feng seems to have never eaten them. Duan Lei dodged and then reached out to Wang Fengji. "Bring it here." "What?" Wang Feng was stunned. "Strengthening potions. I'm going to announce the points system today. What will I do if you don't give me some strengthening potions?" Duan Lei said confidently. "Just give it to you here." Wang Feng smiled sinisterly and said contemptuously, "Are you going to spend a day moving this thing? Forget it. Let's go down and talk." Duan Lei thought for a while and said a little frustrated. He was actually despised by this guy. It was really shameless, but now he was finally sure that Wang Feng had overcome his knot. Back to normal. After all, they are still very young, only 21 or 12 years old, and there are still some detours that they cannot avoid. The two left the room and walked downstairs. They met several enhancers on the way, so they went downstairs together. In the end, they formed a team of more than 20 people. When we arrived at the club, there were indeed people distributing food in front of the door, but they were all bottled water and bagged biscuits, because it had been more than half a year since the end of the world, and the bread and snacks had already gone bad. Entering the lobby of the club, Wang Feng saw Lu Wanting at a glance. At this time, Lu Wanting was with Shen Yishan, and there were several second-level enhancers beside her, including Gui Wuivang. They gathered around a table, pointing at the table and talking. Seeing Wang Feng and Duan Lei coming in, Gui Wuivang was the first to shout at the top of his lungs. "Madman! Where did you find a woman like you? She is so amazing." Lu Wanting's pretty face turned red when she was told by Gui Wuivang's mother-in-law, and she quickly lowered her head. Wang Feng and Duan Lei came to the table and saw a drawing on the table. The floor plan of Bishui community was drawn on it. Lu Wanting also held a pencil in her hand. It seemed that the lines drawn with pencil on the drawing were her handiwork. Shen Yishan also looked up at Wang Feng and Duan Lei. She was not very familiar with Wang Feng, so she just nodded to Wang Feng, and then said to Duan Lei. Xiao Lei. Ting Ting proposed a three-dimensional defense plan. I think it's great. If it can be completed, our community's defense system will be very strong, but the cost of resources is not small. Come and take a look. Duan Lei was a little surprised when he heard this, looked at Lu Wanting, and then looked back at Wang Feng. That's right, Wang Feng nodded, Ting Ting is very good at this. Back then, she just put some cars outside the camp and held back hundreds of zombies for a long time. Take a look and start if you think you can. Jian, use the resources of our Guardian Legion to find a solution. Duan Lei looked at Lu Wanting again and nodded lightly, okay. Then Ting Ting, please tell me again. The more detailed the better. No, before Lu Wanting could agree, Wang Feng reached out to stop Duan Lei. Let's settle the strengthening potion first, and then I will take the people out. Duan Lei then remembered that he still had the most important thing to do, and he quickly apologized to Lu Wanting and said, Ting Ting. Just wait for me for a while. I will send the madman away and then come back to you. Lu Wanting nodded, but Gui Weavong laughed. Ha 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 ha. It sounds so awkward to ask the mother-in-law to wait for you, and then you send the man away and come to find her again? Xiaoliai, are you trying to steal love? Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 122. Wang Feng was furious when he heard this, and grabbed Duan Lei's collar. Seeing Duan Lei's somewhat stunned look, he suddenly came to his senses and hurriedly said, Sorry, I grabbed the wrong person. Then he flashed to Gui Weavong's side, grabbed Gui Weavong's only remaining arm and said, You are so good, Gitu, you dare to sow discord? Let's practice. Wang Feng's address to Gui Weavong caused the enhancers in the hall to laugh, and even Shen Yisan and Lu Wanting lowered their heads, their shoulders shaking constantly. Damn it! Crazy! I was wrong. We can practice, but you can change the address for me. Gui Weavong's face turned green when he heard Wang Feng's address to him. It was nothing to practice with him. He was a wounded soldier, and Wang Feng would not be too cruel. But this address must be changed, otherwise Gui Weavong dared to bet that the name Gitu would definitely accompany him for the rest of his life. Huh? I heard from the guys in the Guardian Corps that this is how they call us, right, Liudu? Wang Feng pretended not to understand and asked Lu Qiang. Yeah. That's right. Lu Qiang, who has always been a synonym for honesty, actually cooperated with Wang Feng. Look. Right? We can't be special, you continue, we go out to practice, I want to train ER. Train him. Wang Feng found something wrong when he said the last part. It seemed that adding R in front of this name was not right. Duan Lei watched Wang Feng drag Gui Weavong out, chuckled, and quickly turned to a room next to the lobby. He knew that Wang Feng was going to drive Gui Weavong away to accompany Lu Feng. When he went out, Wang Feng told him that Gui Weavong's evolution potion was ready. Anyway, he was recovering from his injuries. Although the physique of a third-level enhancer was better than that of an ordinary person, he still couldn't fight to avoid the wound bursting, so he was just allowed to undergo the evolution. It just so happens that the evolution process will transform his physique, and it may also be beneficial to his wound healing. Duan Lei will naturally not object to this matter. The room that Duan Lei entered was prepared by him a long time ago. It was a place for exchanging points for other people. Yunfei was busy with a few people inside. Because the points system was more important, Duan Lei arranged Yunfei here. The first people who followed them were only Lu Qiang, Yunfei, and Taizu. Lu Qiang was an evolver, so he naturally couldn't be buried here. Taizu couldn't let him participate in things related to numbers at all, so only Yunfei was left. Fortunately, Yunfei would complete everything that Duan Lei or Wang Feng told him to do seriously without any discount. After Duan Lei entered the room, he couldn't help laughing at the layout of the room. Yunfei, this guy, didn't know where he got a long counter and placed it in the middle of the room, dividing the whole room into two parts, leaving an entrance and exit next to the counter. There was actually a shelf behind the counter, making the room look like a store. On one side of the wall were two large pieces of paper with some instructions on the points system. Duanlei looked around and felt quite satisfied, because this was just a temporary point redemption address, and no one had points at the moment. Duanlei just wanted the survivors in the base to have a general understanding of the point system, and it was just right now. The counter was used for registration, and the shelves would be filled with the strengthening potions made by Wang Feng, and basically this place would be open for business. Not long after, Wang Feng came back alone. He found Duanlei, looked at the shelves, took out 100 bottles of strengthening potions, and asked Yunfei to put them on the counter. In addition, he asked Duanlei to find a safe room to store all the 4,900 bottles of strengthening potions synthesized by Tiankai last night. Anyway, these strengthening potions have no shelf life and can be used at any time. The reason why they were taken out first was because Wang Feng was afraid that something unexpected would happen after he went out, such as the last time he was caught by a bird and came back several days later. After doing all this, Wang Feng said goodbye to Lu Wanting and left the club. Lu Qiang wanted to go with Wang Feng, but Wang Feng felt that an evolver should be left at the base. After all, this was their home base and no accidents could happen. Tang Haoshan had already made preparations for departure. A huge convoy was waiting at the entrance of the community. All of them were large trucks. They were ready to move the corpses of zombies. As for the corpses of turtles, the two heavy tractors at the end of the convoy would be responsible for it. Behind these two heavy tractors were a row of flat trailers. Because there was no truck that could fit the turtles, they had to try with flat trailers. After taking a look, Wang Feng nodded and thought it was okay. There was no crane in the convoy because Tang Haoshan had simply mobilized 1,000 first-level enhancers of the Guardian Corps. Anyway, they could also move the corpses of zombies. Even if the corpses of turtles could not be salvaged, it would not be a waste of time. Let's go, Wang Feng nodded to Tang Haoshan. Tang Haoshan jumped into an open SUV and waved to Wang Feng. After Wang Feng got in, he started the car and headed towards the Black Dragon Bridge. The entire convoy also roared, and followed Tang Haoshan one by one out of Ganlin County. After arriving, Wang Feng asked Tang Haoshan to park the car 1 kilometer away from the Black Dragon Bridge. He wanted to go down first to take a look. Tiankai said that there was a creature more terrifying than the turtle in the cave under the turtle, which made Wang Feng dare not be careless at all. If the convoy was parked at the bridgehead rashly, if he disturbed the creature when he went down, it might bring disaster to the entire convoy. After instructing the convoy to wait here, Wang Feng brought Tang Haoshan to the Black Dragon Bridge. He brought Tang Haoshan with him to meet him on the bridge. They first tied a rope to the bridge and threw it down. After remembering the position of the rope, Wang Feng jumped into the Black Dragon River. Upside down, with the thrust generated by falling, Wang Feng easily reached the location of the turtle's body. As expected by Wang Feng, the turtle's body still maintained the posture when they left, and there was not even a fish around. Wang Feng landed on the back of the turtle carefully and waited quietly for a while. When he came down, he told Tiankai to try his best to sense the powerful life energy and remind him immediately if he found it. Who knew that there was no movement until now, which means that Tiankai did not sense the life energy again. Could it be blocked by the turtle's body? Wang Feng swam to the side of the turtle, pushed the turtle's body open with force, revealing the cave below, and then asked in his heart, "Tiankai? Still not? No. I can't feel it at all." Tiankai's answer made Wang Feng frown, and then Wang Feng did not delay any more, climbed on the back of the turtle, kicked his feet hard, and floated to the surface of the water. "Old Tang! Call someone over, don't drive." Pull the turtle up first. Wang Feng, who emerged from the water, shouted to Tang Haoshan on the bridge. Tang Haoshan received the order and quickly waved his hands 3 times in the direction of the convoy. They had agreed when they came that waving his arms 3 times left and right meant running over, and waving them 3 times forward and backward meant driving over. 1,000 guards hurried over. Because there were too many people and they had never trained together, the team looked a little messy. After arriving at the bridgehead, these guards quickly divided into 6 teams, 2 of which went forward to the river and threw 2 bundles of nylon ropes as thick as thumbs into the river. Wang Feng swam over, found the rope head and hung it on his body, then dived down again. When he arrived at the turtle, he confirmed with Tiankai again that the life energy still did not appear, and then Wang Feng tied the nylon rope to the turtle's neck and 1 foot, and then returned to the river again. After repeating this twice, Wang Feng had tied 6 ropes to the turtle's head, tail, and limbs. After confirming that the ropes were strong enough, Wang Feng pulled the rope tied to the turtle's head and sent a signal. The 6 ropes were instantly tightened, and then the turtle's huge body slowly rose up. Wang Feng looked at the cave that was exposed after the turtle rose up, resisted the urge to shine a flashlight downward, and kicked upward to return to the river surface. At this time, the guards were pulling the 6 ropes hard to pull the turtle upwards. When the turtle emerged from the water, Tang Haoshan, who was standing on the bridge, was shocked, although Wang Feng had described the size of the turtle to him. However, the concept of guessing in the mind is completely different from seeing it with one's own eyes. Tang Haoshan looked at the turtle, then looked at the turtle in the river, raised his right hand, and shouted, "Stop!" The guards didn't understand, but they all stopped where they were, holding the rope tightly in their hands and looking at Tang Haoshan. Because these guards were pulling the rope on the river bank, not on the bridge, they couldn't see the turtle. Only Tang Haoshan, who was standing on the bridge, could see this huge monster. After Tang Haoshan shouted to stop, he immediately ran to the convoy. When he was halfway there, he shouted loudly, "Tractor, unload the flat trailer and drive over here." It turned out that after Tang Haoshan saw the size of the turtle, he was a little worried that these guards couldn't pull up the turtle, so he ran over to turn the 2 heavy tractors over. Even though the guard warrior in front seemed to have some strength left when he pulled the turtle out of the water, that was because of the buoyancy of the river water. Tang Haoshan was worried that if someone couldn't hold on halfway through, it would be troublesome. If the turtle fell into the river, it would definitely cause a huge vibration in the river water, and then it would probably alarm the even more terrifying mutant beast that Wang Feng mentioned. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 123. After the tractor arrived, Tang Haoshan tied the 2 ropes tied to the turtle's head and tail to the tractor, then drove the tractor forward, tightened the ropes, and then shouted, "Start!" The 2 tractors and 1,000 guard soldiers worked together, and the turtle finally slowly left the water. Watching the turtle take off, Wang Feng dived underwater again and circled around the cave for a few times, but did not find another cave. With doubts in his heart, Wang Feng returned to the surface of the water. Even if he wanted to enter the cave, he had to wait until all the turtles and zombies were loaded on the truck. This time, Wang Feng climbed up the bridge directly along the rope he had just left. At this time, the turtle had been completely pulled to the shore. It was not until this time that the soldiers of the Guard Corps saw the giant turtle. It is said that a turtle looks at a mung bean, eye to eye, which means that the turtle's eyes are quite small, but this turtle's eyes are as big as a truck tire, and its head is almost as big as a house. You can imagine how huge this turtle is. Looking at the panting appearance of the 1,000 guards, it is estimated that if Tang Haoshan had not brought the 2 heavy tractors over, it would not have been possible to bring the turtle up so smoothly. After the turtle was brought up, Wang Feng was about to face a problem, that is, how to put the turtle into his own apocalypse space. It is impossible to put it in, because the apocalypse space is a fixed square space with a length, width, and height of 10 meters. Even if it is cut into pieces, it is impossible to put it all in, and the most important thing is that it will expose your apocalypse space, making people avoid it, and then secretly put it in? Then how to explain the disappearance of the meat? Wang Feng can't tell them that he ate it, right? Fortunately, Wang Feng himself was well prepared, although it was not so seamless, at least he could deal with it. Please move aside. I will collect some turtle meat first. It will be easier to carry it later. Wang Feng walked to the turtle and said to the guards who were talking around the turtle. These soldiers had never seen such a big turtle before, so they found it strange. When they heard Wang Feng's words, they were even more surprised. They thought, how much of such a big turtle can you collect? Wang Feng did not explain, but directly showed the blade of apocalypse, thrust hard at the root of the turtle's right claw, and then cut it to one side, and then cut it one by one. Here we can see the strength of the fifth-level creature. Even if it is dead, the body transformed by the origin of life still has the instinct to repair. Of course, it is not the wound that heals, but in the process of Wang Feng cutting the right claw, the turtle bleeds very little. It is said that if all the blood in a turtle this big is released, it can probably form a pond. However, as apocalypse cuts, the wound at the root of the right claw becomes larger and larger, but the blood that flows out is pitifully small. Except for the moment when it is just cut, some blood will flow out, but then the muscles near the wound will slowly contract, locking the wound and preventing the blood from continuing to flow out. This is the self-healing function of a level 5 creature. Even if it has lost its life and even the source of life has been sucked clean, the body of this level 5 creature still retains some of the most basic functions. I just don't know if this meat will prevent itself from being cooked when it is boiled in water. If it can, then it really can't be eaten. Because Apocalypse is more delicate and the turtle's right claw is relatively large, it took Wang Feng nearly 10 minutes to cut this right claw. This is because Apocalypse is sharper. If you use an ordinary knife, you may not be able to break the turtle's skin. At the moment when the right claw just left the turtle's body, before it fell to the ground, Wang Feng waved his right hand, and the turtle's claw magically disappeared, and a blood-red longbow appeared in Wang Feng's hand. Bow of Apocalypse, the second form of Apocalypse. Now, even Tang Haoshan was stunned. He blinked his eyes, rubbed his hands hard a few times, shook his head, and finally confirmed that what he saw was not an illusion. No, inside what's going on, Tang Haoshan was a little unsound. How did this turtle claw become a bow? Look up at Wang Feng. Crazy, are you learning magic? Learn your head. This is my new ability to become a second-level evolver, blood-colored space string. Wang Feng was obviously very satisfied with the name he made up. This bow was condensed in my body after my second evolution, and it also comes with a large space. I just put the turtle claw in that space. That's right. Now Wang Feng is already a second-level evolver. After he synthesized the evolution potion for Doomsday yesterday, he asked Tiankai to synthesize the second-level evolution potion for himself. He was originally wondering when he would use this evolution potion, but he found out after asking Tiankai. The process of using the second-level evolution potion takes at most 2 hours, because this evolution potion has added the origin of life, otherwise it would not even take half an hour, because the first-level evolution potion will transform the whole body when used, so the time is so long. The second-level evolution potion only further strengthens the body, and of course it will take much less time than the transformation. Wang Feng immediately used the evolution potion when he heard it, and then slept while strengthening his body. When he woke up in the morning, he was already a second-level evolver. After being promoted to the second-level evolver, in addition to the increase in physical strength and speed, Wang Feng also gained an ability, Ice Arrow, which was the kind that the turtle used to attack him many times. Now Wang Feng can directly use the life energy in his body to condense an arrow made entirely of ice, which will freeze the target directly after hitting it. Of course, this is also very costly. Life energy is physical strength. With Wang Feng's current physical strength as a second-level enhancer, he can use less than 30 ice arrows continuously, but the price is that Wang Feng will directly lose his combat ability. If he still wants to launch a gust of wind, he can probably only use 12 ice arrows. This is because he has become a second-level evolver and the consumption of the gust of wind has also been reduced. However, Wang Feng can also directly add the ice effect to his arrows. In this way, the consumption is only 1/10 of the full version of the ice arrow, which greatly improves Wang Feng's endurance. The only regret is that the ice arrow shot by the turtle has the ability to split and track, and Wang Feng has not inherited these abilities, which makes Wang Feng a little depressed. However, Tiankai said that this might be because his current level was too low, not even a level 3 creature, so those skills could not be manifested yet. Perhaps after the level was raised in the future, these skills would appear on Wang Feng, which finally gave Wang Feng some hope. It took a full minute for Tang Haoshan to fully understand what Wang Feng meant. Crazy, you mean your second ability is this bow, and this bow also has its own space. That's right. Seeing that Tang Haoshan finally recovered, Wang Feng breathed a sigh of relief, then ran to the right hind leg, turned the apocalypse bow into the apocalypse blade, and continued to cut the right hind leg of the turtle. Wang Feng was busy alone, while Tang Haoshan and other guardian warriors stood there in a daze. Although they had experienced many incredible things in the end times, it was still not something they could easily accept that such a large turtle claw suddenly turned into a bow. Finally, the right hind leg was cut off and put into the apocalypse space. Wang Feng turned around and saw that the group of guys were still standing there pretending to be terracotta warriors. He couldn't help but shout loudly, "What are you doing? Can you be lazy by pretending to be surprised? Go move the zombies, and try to keep the car away from the bridge." Tang Haoshan woke up from his dream. "Oh. Got it," then he shouted to the guards, "What the hell are you doing with the terracotta warriors? Hurry up and work." The guards hurriedly dispersed and ran towards the pile of zombie corpses. The convoy also drove towards the corpse mountain under Tang Haoshan's arm. Wang Feng continued his busy work. After the hind legs, it was the tail, and then the other two legs. When the huge turtle, head fell to the ground, Wang Feng looked at the head in a daze. It's not that his space can't fit it, but he feels that it's a bit disadvantageous to install this. This turtle, although the head is big, it is basically bones, and it takes up too much space. After thinking about it, Wang Feng still ignored the turtle head, jumped directly onto the turtle's back, jumped into the hole where he had killed the turtle before, and continued to struggle. When Wang Feng felt that the apocalypse space was almost filled, he dug a hole in the turtle's body and crawled out. As a result, he found that the place where he came out was exactly where the turtle's tail was. Wang Feng was disgusted by himself for a long time, and cursed his bad luck, but he had already come out, so he couldn't go in again to find another exit, right? He looked at Tang Haoshan and the others unhappily, and found that Tang Haoshan and the others were still loading zombies on the car in full swing. Seeing how excited they were when carrying the zombies, those who didn't know would think they were stealing the terracotta warriors. Wang Feng shook his head, looked back at the huge shell of the turtle, and thought about it. He found that it was not easy to get it back, but there was still a lot of turtle meat in the shell, and it must not be left here. After thinking about it, he decided to leave this matter to Tang Haoshan, and go down to the river to study the cave first, but it would be better to wait until the convoy leaves. After jumping into the Black Dragon River and washing the blood stains he had just made in the turtle's belly, Wang Feng, who was unwilling to give up, swam to the entrance of the cave and asked Tiankai to sense it again. As a result, he still found nothing. Helpless, Wang Feng had to return to the river, climb up the Black Dragon Bridge along the rope, and sit on the bridge pier, boredly watching the busy Tang Haoshan and others. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 124. Another hour passed, and Tang Haoshan and his team finally finished their work. They didn't finish loading the zombies, but filled the trucks. Even if some of the corpses of 100,000 zombies were lost, there would definitely be more than 80,000 corpses, which was not something that the less than 50 trucks they brought this time could carry away at once. The trucks that had loaded the trucks turned around and returned to the original parking position to wait, because there were still turtle corpses that had not been handled, so they had to wait for everyone to leave together. Although the road from here to Ganlin County was basically safe, it was still necessary to be careful in this doomsday. Tang Haoshan brought the 1,000 guardian warriors to the turtle. After turning around twice, Tang Haoshan decided to first, maybe it would be more appropriate to call it a turtle shell, because the 6 limbs of this turtle had been cut off by Wang Feng. Moreover, except for the head, the others were loaded into the apocalypse space by Wang Feng. Now it seems that Wang Feng's words about reducing the weight were not in vain, and it did reduce a lot of weight. Tang Haoshan pulled up a rope that he had just used to tie up the turtle, but suddenly found that the place on the turtle that could be tied with the rope had been cut off by Wang Feng. After frowning, Tang Haoshan reached out and pulled out his big knife from his back without saying a word. Bang! Sparks flew everywhere, and with the sound of metal clashing, Tang Haoshan's originally confident face twisted instantly, because he used too much force and almost lost consciousness in his hands. Caught off guard, he didn't even hold the big knife, and flew out in a rotation. Fortunately, there was no one there, otherwise it would definitely cause accidental injuries. Tang Haoshan stared at the turtle shell with wide eyes. There seemed to be only a white mark on the place where he cut it. Tang Haoshan, who didn't believe in evil, reached out to touch the white mark, but after touching it, even the white mark was gone. Is this guy a turtle? Why is he so humming hard? Like a turtle shell. Tang Haoshan cursed, but halfway through the curse, he reacted, what does a turtle mean? It looks like a turtle shell. This is a turtle shell. Turning his head, Tang Haoshan found that his sword actually flew out more than 10 meters horizontally and hit a willow tree about 20 centimeters thick. However, the trunk of the willow tree seemed very hard. The sword only cut into the trunk about 1 centimeter, and then shook twice and fell under the tree. Tang Haoshan turned and walked towards the willow tree, mumbling something in his mouth. The guard warriors on the side only vaguely heard a few words like damn, so hard, can't get in, but didn't understand what they meant. Wang Feng looked at it funny. He had tried the turtle shell with Tiankai. Now Tiankai, who had been promoted to the 2nd level, couldn't cut the turtle shell. Only the tip of the blade at the tip could break the turtle shell. The body of a level 5 creature is already very strong, and this is a turtle that is famous for its defense. The tortoise shell is the hardest part of it. Tang Haoshan, an enhancer who cannot even reach the level of a level 2 creature, wants to cut its tortoise shell with an ordinary machete? It's just a joke. Wang Feng shook his head and walked towards the turtle. He planned to use Apocalypse to drill 2 holes in the turtle's tortoise shell to make it easier for them to tie the rope. He was the only one who could do this here. Tang Haoshan walked under the willow tree, bent down to pick up the machete. His hand just touched the machete, but the drooping branches of the willow tree suddenly rolled towards him. Tang Haoshan was caught off guard and was directly rolled up by the branches of the willow tree. In an instant, he was wrapped like a zongzi. The willow tree did not give up. After rolling up Tang Haoshan, the branches and leaves continued to pull Tang Haoshan towards its dense trunk. At this moment, a figure passed through the air, and a white light flashed in his hand, cutting off all the branches and leaves that wrapped around Tang Haoshan, and then kicked Tang Haoshan out with a kick. The direction Tang Haoshan flew out was exactly towards the soldiers of the Guardian Corps. These soldiers dared to catch Tang Haoshan, and when they pulled the branches and leaves left on him, they found that those branches and leaves had all dried up. The figure that passed through the air and rescued Tang Haoshan was Wang Feng. He was originally walking towards the turtle, but he saw Tang Haoshan in danger from the corner of his eyes, so he immediately launched a gust of wind, flew over, and used Apocalypse to cut off the willow branches and leaves that attacked Tang Haoshan, saving Tang Haoshan. After Wang Feng rescued Tang Haoshan, he did not continue to attack the willow tree, but retreated directly to Tang Haoshan and cancelled the gust state. After becoming a second-level enhancer, the gust state can be cancelled automatically, which can save some physical energy. Of course, this saving does not mean that if you continue the gust for 10 seconds and then cancel it, you will only consume the physical energy of 10 seconds of gust, but double it. That is to say, if you cancel the gust after more than 30 seconds, the physical energy consumed is the same as if you did not cancel the skill. But the advantage of this is that Wang Feng can start it again immediately after cancelling the gust, instead of needing a period of time like before, but the duration of the gust is shorter. When he came to Tang Haoshan, Wang Feng looked at Tang Haoshan carefully. The guards had torn off all the willow branches and leaves on Tang Haoshan, but Tang Haoshan was still unconscious at this time. Wang Feng pressed his hand on Tang Haoshan's chest. Fortunately, his heart was still beating, but Tiankai's words made his heart instantly cold. He has lost a lot of life energy and is now only at the level of a second-level enhancer. Apocalypse. Is this made by that tree? Wang Feng glanced at the willow tree, his face darkening. That's right. This willow tree should be able to absorb the life energy of living things to strengthen itself. Apocalypse's answer made Wang Feng even more angry. Really? Then I'll chop it down and see how strong it is. Perhaps because he was born in a military family, Wang Feng was more protective of his own people. This was also the tradition of the army. No matter which sergeant, he would definitely scold and beat his soldiers. But no matter how he scolded or beat them, that was only for him. If other people let his soldiers suffer a little grievance, they would dare to fight you out of the army. If they didn't get back at you, they would be ashamed to see people in the future. After Wang Feng finished speaking, he turned around and walked towards the willow tree, holding Apocalypse in his hand, but his eyes were always fixed on the drooping branches of the willow tree. Those branches were just like ordinary willow trees, hanging low around the willow tree and swaying gently in the wind, but now Wang Feng didn't think that these branches would be as harmless as they were now. Wang Feng approached the willow tree carefully while staring at it. As long as the willow tree moved, he would immediately launch a gust of wind. To his surprise, until he reached the willow tree, the branches and leaves of the willow tree did not show any signs of attacking. Instead, they swayed in the wind, behaving normally. Stop pretending. I can't beat the mutant beast, but I can't beat you who are standing still. Wang Feng waved the Apocalypse and hit the trunk of the willow tree. Unexpectedly, the sharp Apocalypse only cut 1/3 of the trunk of the willow tree and could not continue, but Wang Feng naturally had his own way. The advantage of Apocalypse was that it could be retracted at any time, unlike other weapons, which had to be pulled out with great effort. Waving the Apocalypse and slashing at the traces he had cut before, Wang Feng found that the moment he approached the trunk, the Apocalypse suddenly disappeared, and he was equivalent to clenching his fist and turning in front of the trunk of the willow tree. Tiankai! What are you doing? Wang Feng was furious. The life energy of this creature is fluctuating, conveying information to me. Tiankai replied. He didn't want to be our enemy first. Wang Feng was stunned, and then he remembered that when he attacked the willow tree, the branches and leaves he had been guarding against really didn't attack him. What did it say? Do you understand? Wang Feng simply stepped back, and then asked Tiankai. I can understand what it means. Tiankai's answer made Wang Feng a little confused, but he quickly threw it aside. Then why didn't it attack us? Because of me. Tiankai's voice was still so plain. Without a trace of pride, which made Wang Feng admire it very much. This life form itself is actually very powerful, but it hasn't grown up yet, but if it weren't for me, you might not be able to hurt it at all. Damn. It's just a tree. I can just chop it down directly, is it that awesome? Wang Feng was a little unbelievable. You can chop down its trunk directly? Its branches and leaves are its defense. Now it is only because of my existence that its branches and leaves do not attack you. Otherwise, it would be difficult for you to even get close to it. Tian Kai did not give Wang Feng any face. What the hell? I just need to cut off all its branches. What else can it use to stop me? Wang Feng certainly did not believe this. He waved his hand and said to the guardian warrior, "Give me a knife." Didn't Tian Kai say that it would not work without it? Today Wang Feng wanted to try and see if he could cut down the tree without it. A guardian warrior ran to Wang Feng and handed the big knife in his hand to Wang Feng. Wang Feng took the big knife and was about to cut down the trunk of the willow tree. Maybe Tian Kai said something to the willow tree. The branches and leaves that had not attacked Wang Feng suddenly rolled up and attacked Wang Feng. Wang Feng had expected the situation a long time ago. The big knife changed direction instantly and chopped at these branches and leaves. Maybe because of the weapon this time, Wang Feng felt that his broadsword was very laborious when cutting off these branches and leaves, which was completely different from when he used his apocalypse. When using apocalypse to cut off these branches and leaves, he basically felt no resistance and cut off all the branches and leaves lightly. Although this broadsword is much heavier and more convenient than the apocalypse blade, it feels very laborious to cut. Wang Feng held the sword with both hands and chopped with all his strength, but he was exhausted after only cutting off a dozen willow branches, and the broadsword was then caught by other willow branches. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 125. The frightened Wang Feng quickly gave up his sword and retreated. The main reason for this was not that his weapon was taken away, but that he found that the willow branch he had chopped off fell to the ground and decomposed directly on the ground, and then integrated into the land. But the willow branches that had been shortened by him before were restored to their original length as if going back in time. However, these willow branches did not continue to attack after Wang Feng retreated, but returned to their original length. The way it sways gently in the wind. Apocalypse. What is going on? Wang Feng asked in surprise. This is the peculiarity of this life. In fact, in your world, the most powerful life energy should be these creatures you call plants. Apocalypse's answer surprised Wang Feng. No way. We humans are the masters of all things, Wang Feng argued unconvincingly. Human beings are intelligent, but plants are? And we can move around, but plants can. But their vitality is strong enough. Even if their heels are cut off, they can still continue their lives. Can you? Apocalypse asked in a very rare way. Yeah. I can definitely survive. It's just not fun anymore. Wang Feng thought about it carefully and answered truthfully. Tian Kai was speechless for the first time in his communication with Wang Feng. The root he was talking about was Wang Feng's head, and what Wang Feng was thinking about was, well, also the head. But it's not that big. This life form is actually a bit similar to me, except that it can only convert the energy it can absorb for its own use, and cannot export it to other life forms. Although it is a bit shortcoming, it should be useful to you, and you can conquer it. Tian Kai paused for a moment before continuing. Conquer? Wang Feng frowned. Yes. Conquer it, Tian Kai said. I was just able to restrain it, and it knew it, so it didn't continue to attack you. Even if ordinary weapons can cut it off, it cannot cause fatal damage to it, because after its branches and leaves are broken, they will turn into life energy again and merge into its roots. Even if you chop down the entire tree, as long as its roots are still there, it can be resurrected without any damage. Did you just see its cut branches? After those branches are cut off, if they fall into the soil, they will be absorbed by its roots. It will cause no harm to it. Cut? So what? The worst I can do is kick the broken branches away when I cut off its branches. How can it be replenished? I can still grind it to death. Wang Feng was a little unconvinced. If all its branches and leaves attack you when you attack it, do you have time to take care of this? Tiankai's question made Wang Feng dumbfounded. He stared blankly at the leafy hanging tree. Yang Lu said somewhat depressedly. What should I do? Conquer it? It has the ability that is more suitable for this world than me, that is, it can transform the bodies that have lost their life energy that I have absorbed into life energy. This is something I can't do. I can only absorb the most essence. Pure life energy. Tiankai's answer stunned Wang Feng. Please make it clearer, Wang Feng asked quickly. It's very simple. Now I have absorbed the life energy of those zombie corpses, which means that I can only absorb what you call strengthening fluid in their brains, but this creature can absorb the remaining zombie corpses as well. Absorb it and transform it into life energy, Tiankai explained. What good will that do to me? Wang Feng asked blankly. The simplest and stupidest way is to coerce it and make it desperately absorb the life energy, and then use me to absorb it. In this case, you can get at least 2 copies of life energy from one zombie apocalypse. This time the answer refreshed Wang Feng. What about a better way? Wang Feng pursued the victory. The better way is to cultivate it yourself and let it grow smoothly. It is difficult for plant-based mutant life to grow because of their own conditions. They cannot move and can only passively receive the biological energy close to them. With your cultivation and the tree's own characteristics, maybe in the future it will be able to step into the level of a 5th level creature before you. Apocalypse's answer left Wang Feng in a daze. What good will it do me to make it a level 5 creature? The first is that you can use it as a defensive building in your base to resist attacks by zombies or biochemical beasts. The second is that you can use it as a backup warehouse for the apocalypse point. When you urgently need to use the apocalypse point, sometimes, it can be temporarily absorbed from it for emergency use. I can sense the life fluctuations it emits, and it can also sense my life fluctuations, so I can communicate with it and prevent it from harming any creatures related to the base, so that it will not be dangerous to you, and you just need to throw the zombie corpses you don't have used to it. Apocalypse's suggestion made Wang Feng's heart move, but he hesitated. Then what if it comes back to deal with us after it becomes stronger? If you can't completely rest assured about bringing such a creature to the base, it is equivalent to a time bomb. No. It is a plant, not a human being. Once it decides something, it will not change, and the fluctuations of life cannot be faked. It really wants to reconcile with us. Tiankai's words made Wang Feng very angry, ashamed, but unable to refute. Apocalypse is right. Things like going back on one's word and repaying kindness with hatred seem to be possible only in humans. Even animals rarely do this kind of behavior. Why does it want to reconcile with us? Wang Feng quickly changed the subject. Because I can cause fatal damage to it, Apocalypse replied. Ordinary weapons will cause minimal damage to it. Its chopped branches and leaves can be converted into life energy and absorbed by the body. The loss is almost negligible, but it can directly absorb the life energy in its body, making it unable to recover. So I can really destroy it. It also knew about this situation after you used me to cut off its willow branches just now. Therefore, it took the initiative to send life waves, asking for reconciliation and avoiding its own destruction. That's right instinct of all living things. Wang Feng looked back at the dry branches and leaves, and finally understood why the big tree didn't take the initiative to attack after he came in front of him. Okay then. Tell it that as long as it is willing to cooperate with us, not only will I not hurt it, but I will also give it a chance to become stronger quickly. Wang Feng looked at the willow tree and said, with such a powerful help, Wang Feng, naturally, it's something you can't ask for. Planting this guy in the base will give the base an extra layer of insurance. Unfortunately, this tree is a bit small, but if you feed it more zombies, maybe it can grow bigger, right? Although willow trees basically don't grow very big, it's the end of the world now, and anything can happen. The corpse of the turtle behind him is proof. Who has seen a turtle bigger than a whale before the end of the world? Haven't you seen it now? Turning around and looking at the turtle's head, Wang Feng felt something in his heart. Apocalypse. Did it agree? Wang Feng asked secretly in his heart. Yes. I agreed. It will never harm anyone in the base, and it will also help defend the base. Tiankai's answer made Wang Feng very satisfied. Okay. Tiankai. Tell it, I want to give it a big gift. Wang Feng looked at the willow tree and nodded with a smile, although he knew that the willow tree should not be able to see the kindness he expressed. Get that turtle, head here. Wang Feng turned around and shouted. Anyway, the turtle's head doesn't have much meat, so it's hard to take it back. I guess it can be used to make soup. The problem is where to find such a big one. Pot. Just give this new member of the base a favor. The Guardian soldiers had been watching there for a long time. They didn't know what their heads were doing at this time. They ran in front of the willow tree and didn't do anything. They just stood there and stared at the willow tree blankly. At this moment, they suddenly wanted to kill the turtle by themselves. Get your head over there? If you don't understand, just don't think about it. Anyway, just do whatever you want. Dozens of warriors from the Guardian Legion ran to the turtle's head and rolled the huge turtle head all the way to the front of the willow tree. As soon as the turtle's head was rolled to the side of the willow tree, the branches and leaves of the willow tree began to shake slightly, as if they felt the powerful energy contained in the head. However, without Wang Feng's permission, the willow tree did not touch it. This is a very tempting food for it. Regarding the reaction of the willow tree, Wang Feng finally felt relieved. He would also try this willow tree. If the willow tree could not control its desire for food and took the turtle head as his own without his permission, then Wang Feng is about to reconsider the placement of this willow tree. At least not inside the base. What if it suddenly thinks someone is delicious, and swallows it directly? Tang Haoshan was a level 3 enhancer, and the moment he was rolled up by the willow tree, he rescued him. But in just such a short moment, most of Tang Haoshan's life energy was absorbed by the tree, causing him to fall to the level of a second-level enhancer. If he had taken action 1 second later, Tang Haoshan might have died. Now that the willow tree can control its desires, there should be no problem in putting it into the base. You must know that this turtle head belongs to a 5th-level creature, and its attraction to this willow tree is absolutely huge. At least for this tree, there is definitely no creature in the base that is more attractive than this head. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 126. Wang Feng, who was finally relieved, nodded to the willow tree. This is for you, take it. Seeing that the willow tree had no reaction, I remembered that it was a tree. I definitely didn't understand what it meant by nodding, so I asked Tiankai to communicate with the willow tree for a while, and then the willow tree began to spread its branches and leaves, slowly towards the turtle's head. Spread over. The moment it came into contact with the turtle's head, Willow finally lost control and instantly wrapped the turtle's head, and then pulled it towards him. After dozens of guardian warriors spent a long time, the turtle's head that had rolled all the way was pulled up by the willow tree. It seemed that the strength of this tree was really quite strong. While absorbing the turtle's head, the willow tree gently shook its trunk twice towards Wang Feng, as if to thank Wang Feng. Wang Feng smiled slightly, then turned and walked towards Tang Haoshan. Because Willow's attack is special, it mainly absorbs life energy, so there are no big wounds on Tang Haoshan's body, but the damage caused to him at this moment is definitely much more serious than some skin injuries. Fortunately, with Wang Feng here, it is not a serious matter for Tang Haoshan to become a second-level enhancer. Anyway, no matter what level of enhancer he is, becoming an evolver is just a matter of an evolution potion, and Tang Haoshan has already entered. Now on Wang Feng's list of evolvers. It's just that Duan Lei said that Tang Haoshan was needed in the early stage of the base, so he didn't let him use the evolution potion now. Originally, he wanted to wait for Lu Feng to wake up before letting Tang Haoshan sleep, but now it seems that he has to do it earlier. After taking a drop of Tang Haoshan's blood, Wang Feng turned around and looked around at the few sparse trees around him. He was eager to try. If he could get more plants like willows and plant them in a circle around Bishui community, the base would be the security can be said to be basically foolproof. Doing what he thought of, Wang Feng quickly unfolded his body and quickly turned around among the few trees he saw. Originally, there were many trees here, but because of the previous zombie wave, they had cut them all down. As an obstacle to the advancement of zombies, there are only a few sparse small trees now. After walking around in a circle, Wang Feng was disappointed. None of the trees had mutated and had no reaction at all to his arrival. Plant life is not that easy to mutate, and the larger the plant, the more difficult it is to mutate. As if sensing Wang Feng's disappointment, Tian Kai explained. Perhaps that willow tree was lucky. When the zombie wave came, many zombies died near it, and it absorbed the corpses of many zombies, so it mutated. It is precisely because it is difficult for plant life to mutate. Plants become particularly powerful after they mutate, which is determined by their life genes. The lifespan of plant life is very long, especially that of trees. Without external influence, it is not a problem to live for hundreds or even thousands of years. This does not mean that their life level is higher than that of humans, but that they determined by the form of life. It seems that I can consider planting more trees with the corpses of zombies after I go back. In the words of the pre-apocalyptic world, if you want to be rich, plant more trees. Now it should be changed to, if you want to live well, planting trees is indispensable. Wang Feng sighed and said that he planned to discuss it with Duan Lei after returning to see how feasible this matter was. Returning to Tang Haoshan's side, Wang Feng looked down at Tang Haoshan, who was still unconscious. After thinking about it, Wang Feng decided to wait until he returned to the base before using the evolution potion on Tang Haoshan, so he turned to look at the willow tree. It doesn't matter at first glance. The speed of absorption by the willow tree really surprised Wang Feng. Although the turtle's head was completely wrapped by the branches and leaves of the willow tree and could not be seen from the outside outline, the turtle's head has been reduced by more than half. And with the continuous absorption, the willow tree itself is also growing at an extremely fast rate. In such a short time, it has grown to the thickness of a basin and 6 to 7 meters high. Seeing this situation, Wang Feng's face was a little ugly. Originally, he thought that the turtle head was useless anyway and it would be troublesome to transport it back. It would be better to absorb it directly by the willow tree and save some space. Unexpectedly, now the turtle head is basically no luck, but the tree has grown. If I had known this, it would be better to transport them back separately and let the tree absorb them later. But now that it is like this, let it be absorbed completely. However, Wang Feng originally wanted to freeze the corpses of zombies and feed them to this tree. A willow tree, it seems that it is better to forget it now. I would rather go through a little trouble and transport it back and feed it, than go and feed it now. It would be troublesome if the outsiders didn't catch it one by one and it grew into a towering tree. Okay. Put the turtle on the flat trailer first and get ready to go back. Wang Feng turned around and shouted to the guardian soldiers who were watching the excitement. After shouting, Wang Feng came to the turtle, summoned the blade of apocalypse, drilled 2 holes on the edge of the turtle shell, then passed the rope through the holes to tie the turtle shell, and then used the two heavy-duty tractors, dragged the turtle shell to the side of the road. 1,000 Guardian soldiers plus Wang Feng spent a lot of effort to get the turtle onto the flat trailer. After fixing the turtle with ropes, Wang Feng led a dozen people to the willow tree. At this time, the turtle's head had disappeared, and the willow tree itself had expanded again, turning into a large tree nearly 10 meters high with two people hugging each other. Looking at the willow tree, Wang Feng sighed helplessly and said to Tiankai, "Let it gather its branches, leaves and roots, and we will move it to a new home." What surprised Wang Feng was that at the next moment, Willow's body began to slowly shrink, and did not stop until it was as thick as the mouth of a bowl, and its height also became less than 3 meters. Looking down at the tree pit left by the shrinkage of the willow tree, Wang Feng sighed inwardly, "This is the end of the world. It's just like writing a novel. All kinds of strange things can happen." Originally, Wang Feng came with more than a dozen soldiers from the Guardian Legion with the intention of digging out the willow tree, but now he didn't want to. Wang Feng jumped down from the tree pit and pulled out the willow tree with force. The willow tree had already cut its own roots, reduced to a very small range. Therefore, Wang Feng didn't expend much effort. After pulling out the willow tree, Wang Feng simply put the willow tree on his shoulders. Although the weight was not light, Wang Feng, as a second-order evolver, could still afford it. After throwing the willow tree into a truck pulling zombies, Wang Feng turned and walked towards Tang Haoshan. Tang Haoshan was driving when he came, and it seemed that he would drive himself when he returned. Carrying Tang Haoshan onto the off-road vehicle, Wang Feng waved his hand, indicating that the team would start first and stay at the end. Because the tractor pulling the flat trailer was at the end, Wang Feng decided to stay behind and watch the turtle. As for the cave under the Heilong River, Wang Feng felt that he should check it out later, because now that Tang Haoshan was injured and there was a willow tree in the car that could eat people, Wang Feng was a little worried about letting them go back by themselves. Especially the willow tree. If I am not here, no one will be able to communicate with it. I am afraid it will be a bit troublesome when it comes to planting it at the base. There was no danger along the way and he arrived at the base safely. Wang Feng asked the car pulling the willow tree to follow him and drove all the way to the club. The tractor stopped at the gate of the community because the turtle could not enter the gate of the community. As for the other cars, they drove directly to the location where Duan Lei said he wanted to reclaim farmland. After Wang Feng parked the SUV at the entrance of the club, he first carried Tang Haoshan to the floor where they lived upstairs, placed Tang Haoshan in the room where he lived, then pried open his teeth and poured the evolutionary fluid in, then locked the door and went down to find Duan Lei. After meeting Duan Lei, he briefly told Duan Lei what had happened. After telling him about Tang Haoshan's current situation, Wang Feng also talked about his idea of cultivating those trees. After Duan Lei thought for a while, he shook his head, "I don't think it's necessary. Instead of wasting those zombies cultivating those trees for good luck, it's better to use them all to cultivate this willow tree. You also said that this tree grows very well faster, the bigger it is, the larger the area it can protect. And if you cultivate other trees, even if they mutate, they may not be as easy to conquer as this tree. If you cannot conquer them, it will be a waste of resources. Besides, even if you want to get some mutant plants back to the defense base, you don't necessarily have to cultivate them yourself. There must be more than just this mutant tree out there. If you find them again, just see if you can tame them. If you can, just bring them back. It's not easy." More. Wang Feng thought for a while and nodded, "Okay. That's it? Where is this tree planted?" "At the front entrance." "No. Just plant it in the central square, which is the most central location of this community. Although it is unlikely that this willow tree will grow to the extent that it can cover the entire community, if it is planted there, if something happens that cannot be controlled in times of crisis, all people without fighting ability can be gathered in the central square and let the willow trees protect them. and the clubhouse is near the central square, so the tree can also protect the clubhouse. After all, this is our core place, Doomsday said after thinking for a while. Okay. Let's do it. I'll plant the tree first, and you can take care of the turtle. I've cut off its limbs, head, and tail. The meat inside the shell is not protected by skin, so it can be cut off easily. Find someone to take care of it. Let everyone eat some turtle meat tonight. It can strengthen their physique and win people's hearts. Wang Feng readily agreed that Doomsday was mainly in charge of matters at the base anyway, and he could just listen to what he said. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 127. Doomsday nodded, I know about this. I will ask someone to deal with it. In addition, I will ask someone to plant all the large plants in the community outside. If it weren't for what happened today, we would have neglected it. Wang Feng thought about it and nodded, this is the best. Remember to let Lu Qiang try whether these trees have mutated before starting to dig. In addition, it is best to eradicate all plants, regardless of size. After all, there are still many ordinary people in the base, and no one knows what changes those plants will have. Doomsday immediately agreed, okay. I will arrange this matter immediately, you go to plant trees. Wang Feng left and directed the truck to drive to the central fountain in the central square. He directly found a sledgehammer and smashed the cement pool in the center of the fountain to reveal the soil underneath. Then he dug a small hole casually and put the willow tree directly into the hole. After the willow tree entered the pit, its roots began to drill into the soil. After taking root, the willow tree began to recover its body. Wang Feng jumped onto the truck and threw all the zombie corpses in the truck into the fountain pool as nutrients for the willow tree. Wang Feng understood that the migration of the willow tree would definitely have some impact on it, but after all, it had eaten the head of a level 5 creature before, so it must have more benefits than disadvantages. The head of the turtle was completely devoured by the willow tree, leaving almost no residue. I really don't know how the hard skull was eaten by the willow tree. Wang Feng thought that maybe after scraping the meat clean, the turtle shell could also be given to the willow tree. If the turtle shell was not too thick, it would be a good material for making a shield, but the thickness of more than 20 centimeters made Wang Feng give up his idea. The scales on the limbs and tail that he cut off can be considered. Due to the huge size of the turtle, the scales on its skin are also not small. Each scale is almost the size of a pot lid, and the weight is appropriate. As long as a handle is installed on the scale, it will be a perfect shield. Moreover, the scales of this turtle are diamond-shaped. After being made into a shield, the tip can also be used for attacking. It is a dual purpose. Wang Feng plans to take them all off and give them to Doomsday, asking him to find a way to install a handle and then equip the Guardian Core. However, there are only a few thousand scales, which can probably only equip half of the Guardian Core, but it is better than nothing, right? According to statistics, there are less than 12,000 soldiers in the Guardian Corps. For the time being, Wang Feng has no plan to expand. At least he has to wait until all these soldiers become enhancers. With more than 10,000 enhancers, it can be considered to have a firm foothold in this doomsday. But now the apocalypse points are a problem. It seems that I should go out for a walk and find some zombies to increase my apocalypse points. I should also tell Doomsday that other search teams should try to bring back all the zombie bodies after killing zombies, even if they are thrown to Lu Shu. Seeing that Lu Shu had completely taken root, restored its 10-meter tall figure, and began to devour the zombie bodies around it, Wang Feng turned around and left here. It was still early and could not be wasted. Wang Feng planned to go out for a walk. First, he went to the club and looked at Lu Wanting. He found that she was sketching something on a large piece of paper. After asking, he found out that Doomsday was very satisfied with the defense structure she designed, So he asked her to draw a blueprint and prepare to have people build the defense around the base according to her design. Wang Feng trusted Lu Wanting's ability. He was deeply impressed by the maze defense array composed of cars. Seeing that Lu Wanting was busy, Wang Feng did not disturb her too much. After chatting for a few words, Wang Feng left the club. Climbing onto the off-road vehicle outside the club, Wang Feng thought carefully and decided to go to the Black Dragon Bridge to explore the cave at the bottom of the river again. The cave might be the place where the turtle was born. At least this turtle must have mutated in this river, not ran here after mutation, because from the size of the body, there are many places in the river channel of the Black Dragon River that its huge body cannot squeeze through. When the car arrived at the door, he greeted Duan Lei, who was directing people to deal with the turtle at the door, and asked him to send someone to find a few oxygen cylinders for him. After the oxygen cylinders arrived, Wang Feng threw 4 oxygen cylinders on the back seat of the car, and then drove the off-road vehicle towards the bridge again. There was still no accident on the road. After parking the car at the bridge head, Wang Feng stepped onto the bridge, checked the rope tied to the bridge head before, and after confirming that there was no problem, he dived into the water. When he arrived at the entrance of the cave, Tiankai still did not issue a warning, proving that it still did not sense any breath of life. Taking out a strong flashlight, Wang Feng shone it into the cave, but found nothing, because in the water, there was no way to tell whether this cave had just appeared or existed a long time ago. With a determined heart, Wang Feng plunged into the cave and went deep inside. The cave extended downward at a 45-degree angle. Although it was a little off, it still extended downward. Wang Feng controlled his body to keep diving down. Whenever he felt that the oxygen in his body was exhausted, he took out the oxygen tube from the space and took a breath. In this way, after taking about 15 breaths of oxygen, Wang Feng stopped. Until now, Tiankai has not felt the fluctuation of life energy that it once discovered, and more than 2 hours have passed. Although Wang Feng can still withstand the water pressure at this depth, he plans to give up going deeper. Under the illumination of the flashlight beam, the front of the cave is still exactly the same as before, without any change. If he continues, he doesn't know if there will be any discovery. The most important thing is that his combat effectiveness has been greatly affected in this deep water. Moreover, the diameter of this cave is only more than 2 meters. If there is really an aquatic mutant beast, Wang Feng probably will find it difficult to fight it. His evolutionary direction is agility, and the deep water and this narrow cave greatly limit Wang Feng's performance. Originally, Wang Feng entered here to see what kind of creature there is here and confirm its degree of danger. It's so deep now, but no creatures have been found. Maybe it's just a passage, and the creature left along the passage a long time ago. Anyway, the focus of the people on my side will be on Black Dragon City in the short term, and no one will cross the bridge frequently for the time being. At most, when it is necessary to cross the bridge, I can explore it myself first. Although it is a little troublesome, it is the only way to do it for safety. Thinking of this, Wang Feng gave up the search and turned to swim back in the direction he came from, because he didn't have to be as cautious when he came back, and he was going up, so after an hour and a half, Wang Feng had appeared on the deck of the Black Dragon Bridge. Leaning over to untie the rope, and then putting it into the apocalypse space, Wang Feng returned to the off-road vehicle, started the car, and drove towards Ganlin County. Because he stayed underwater for nearly 4 hours, it was getting dark now, and Wang Feng was ready to end today's action and go back to rest. After returning to Ganlin County, Wang Feng drove into the Bishui community. At the entrance of the community, Wang Feng did not find the huge turtle shell. It seemed that Duan Lei had already dealt with the turtle. After nodding to the guard at the entrance, Wang Feng drove into the community. As expected, Wang Feng, who was heading towards the club, found that the Bishui community was already crowded with people, and the central square was already overcrowded. It seemed that all the survivors had run down. There were bonfires everywhere in the community, and there was a pot on the bonfire. Something was stewing in the pot, and the aroma of meat filled the community. It seemed that Doomsday had already divided the meat of the turtle. Although the turtle was huge and the meat was naturally not small, it seemed that it was still not enough to be divided compared to the larger base of more than 80,000 survivors. So Doomsday simply ordered everyone to use the pot to cook soup, so that everyone could get a small piece of meat and a large bowl of soup. In addition, Doomsday also distributed a lot of stored food, especially potatoes, pumpkins, and other vegetables that are easy to store, and added them to the soup, with a tendency to not celebrate today. Due to the large number of people, Wang Feng had to stop the car halfway and then walk towards the club. Along the way, survivors nodded to him from time to time, appearing very friendly, but not showing special respect. This is because they did not recognize Wang Feng. When Wang Feng first appeared, he was carrying a longbow on his back, and his superb archery skills were the reason why most survivors remembered him. Although many people also saw Wang Feng coming down from the off-road vehicle, they thought he was a soldier of the Guardian Corps. Wang Feng didn't care. He greeted the people he met along the way. All this made Wang Feng feel familiar and strange. What was familiar was that everyone greeted each other like this before the end of the world, but most of them should be people who knew each other, and now they were strangers. What was strange was that this was the first time Wang Feng had experienced such a scene since entering the end of the world. Although the morning of that day was similar to now, people were all busy at that time. Unlike now, they had completely relaxed and were waiting to eat meat and drink soup. There should be many people who drank hot meat soup for the first time in the end of the world. At least most of the women and children should be like this. As a vulnerable group, it is a miracle that they can struggle to survive until now, and they are not qualified to demand any quality of life. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 128. Along the way, before reaching the door of the club, Wang Feng already felt that his heart had become quieter. When he experienced the death of Zhao Taihan before, Wang Feng was infected by a violent emotion, although later on after Doomsday's awakening, Wang Feng had tried to control the violent emotions in his heart. But it was only now that Wang Feng seemed to feel that the violent aura had really left him, making his mood now peaceful and peaceful. Wang Feng liked this feeling very much, because he seemed to have some signs of losing control before. Although even in his current mood, I am afraid he would still make the same decisions as before, but the feeling of being uncontrollable before was really bad, and Wang Feng was a little scared when he thought about it. Fortunately, now that feeling finally disappeared. When I came to the door of the club, I happened to see Doomsday and others surrounding a big fire, chatting away. At this time, a third-level enhancer was talking about something with foaming at the mouth and beating. The firelight illuminated his bald head very brightly. This third-level enhancer is called Luo Kaiying, a slightly feminine name, but his appearance is extremely rough, with a bald head, but a full beard, a pair of copper bell-like eyes, and with his dark complexion. If he had a turban on his head and a spear in his hand, he would look like the reincarnation of Zhangfei. Wang Feng walked closer and happened to hear Luo Kaiying say, "You haven't seen it. That guy pretended to be B. I definitely give him full marks. I just don't know which book he said is in. Otherwise, I'll go to find a copy and read it." Suddenly, when he saw Wang Feng walking in, Luo Kaiying's eyes lit up. "Madman. I led a team to search outside today and met a person. That guy is probably an evolver like you, and he is also agile." Wang Feng raised his eyebrows, looked at Luo Kaiying and asked, "Where is it?" "Oh. Just to the east, except for Ganlin County, go eastward and get close to the mountain. I know there is a liquor-making workshop there. It is private. Because it is on the edge of the mountain. It turns out that we did not plan to go there." "Yes, because you told us not to get close to the mountains and the sea. But then a team member reminded me that since it was a liquor-making workshop, There might be a lot of food reserves there. I thought it was right, and the workshop was only close to the mountain, not in the mountain, so we started it's over. It's just that we didn't expect that when we got there was a guy who was killing people in the yard of the workshop. While killing people, he was saying something like, "Don't follow the plans of the wicked, don't stand in the path of sinners." But this guy said he would not be a sinner, but he hit people on the head with a stick. When we arrived, there were only 2 people left in the yard. Before I could save them, this guy was there. "Go down with the stick and beat the heads of those 2 guys as hard as rotten watermelons. They won't be able to die anymore and won't even have a chance to turn into zombies." At this time, the guy also noticed that we had arrived, so he turned around and looked at us. He was a young man about 24 or 25 years old. He was pretty good looking and had a pretty face, but his eyes were very calm. When he saw us, he immediately asked if we were with the people in that workshop. I said no, and then asked him why he killed people. As a result, he walked right past us and ignored us at all. Just when he was passing by me, he dropped a sentence, "Those who forsake God will bear their own sins." I caught up to him and asked who he was, but his speed suddenly accelerated. I couldn't catch up with him, so I had to shout loudly, "Ask him who he is." The guy didn't stop, and he replied to me, "The Apostle Paul," and then quickly disappeared. Apostle Paul? Wang Feng frowned and looked at Duan Lei with a questioning look in his eyes. The Apostle Paul, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus. It is said that most of the New Testament in the Bible comes from this Apostle Paul. He is a more important figure among the 12 apostles, and the few words he said before, most of them are scriptures from the Bible. Duan Lei knew what Wang Feng meant and explained. "Do not follow the counsel of evildoers, do not stand in the way of sinners." This is the first verse of Psalm chapter 1 in the Bible. It probably means that people should not listen to evil people and should not be with sinful people. Duan Lei is a Christian, but not a very devout one. It is just because his parents are Christians. He has been influenced since he was a child. He has read the Bible several times and remembers the scriptures in it. Especially after entering the army, there was so much training every day, and I was as tired as a dead dog every day. How could I have the energy to think about other things? Holy crap! Lazy eye, have you ever heard of these sentences? It's called a Bible, right? I'm going to find one. You don't know, talking and beating people to death with a stick. This is so cool. I want to learn quickly. Before Wang Feng could speak, Luo Kaying on the side started shouting. "I think you should forget it." Duan Lei looked at Luo Kaying's happy look and shook his head. A guy who looks like Meng Zhongfei is planning to kill people while reciting verses from the Bible? That picture. Apostle Paul. Wang Feng murmured the name again, then looked at Luo Kaying and asked, "Lao Luo, why did the Apostle Paul kill anyone later?" "Yes," Luo Kaying nodded, "although I haven't personally confirmed it, based on what we found in the yard later, we should be able to guess what happened. After the Apostle Paul left, we all entered the yard and found a fire in the middle of the yard with a large iron pot on top. There was water in the iron pot and meat was being cooked. One of our team members went up and stirred it with a spoon, but found a human finger in it. Only then did we know that the meat cooked in the pot was human flesh." Thinking of what the Apostle Paul said about the sinner, I guess it was someone in this workshop. They were so hungry that they killed a person, no matter if it was one of their own or an outsider, and then put the person in the pot to cook and eat. As a result, the Apostle Paul found them, and then he beat them all to death with a stick. There were only 7 people in the yard, not counting the one in the pot. Everyone was killed by a broken head. To be honest, the Apostle Paul was really cruel. When Luo Kaying said this, there was some admiration on his face. As a third-level enhancer, he naturally killed more than just zombies. In this dark end times, people should not only beware of zombies, but also their own kind. In fact, sometimes, Their own kind is far more terrifying than zombies. Zombies at least have a reason to kill people, because you are their food, but humans sometimes don't need any reason to put their own kind to death, just for their own pleasure. Luo Yingke thought that he was a ruthless person, but he estimated that he could not do it like the Apostle Paul, smashing 7 people's heads in a row, and still asking himself calmly whether he was in the same group with those people. Wang Fen nodded when he heard this, looked at Duan Lei and said, "It seems that this guy should not be considered our enemy." Duan Lei frowned, "It is better to find him. This guy is now near our territory. Whether he is an enemy or a friend, we must know where he is and even find out what his purpose is. Otherwise, he will always be like a time bomb. By the way, remember, next time you see this person, remember not to make fun of his beliefs. Generally speaking, such a pious person attaches great importance to his beliefs. Don't turn him into our enemy because of a word." At the end of the speech, Duan Lei couldn't help but remind the people around him. Hearing Duan Lei's words, Wang Feng also nodded to express his agreement. Lei Zi is right. I have said before that the power of protection is the most powerful power in the world. In fact, the power of faith is not bad either. Although I don't have any faith, I have seen those fanatical believers, so everyone should pay attention. And Lao Luo, take me to the place where the guy was found tomorrow to see if we can find him. Maybe this guy has been living in the mountains before, so he can become an evolver. Wang Fen didn't know how this Apostle Paul became an evolver, but he guessed that it should be related to the biochemical beasts in the mountains. Fortunately, this guy didn't look like a person who liked to kill people indiscriminately, because he was an evolver, and it shouldn't be too difficult for him to keep Luo Kaying and his team. Especially since Luo Kaying was an agile evolver, if he suddenly launched an attack when he passed by them, he would kill Luo Kaying, a 3rd-level enhancer, first, and the rest of the people would basically be sent to eat. Moreover, he killed people because those people ate human flesh. If Wang Feng encountered this, he would definitely kill them all. Eating people is absolutely a taboo for Wang Feng. No matter who it is, as long as they dare to eat human flesh, Wang Feng will definitely have one word: kill. After destroying the Black Wolf camp, Wang Feng did not let go of any of the guys who ate human flesh in the Black Wolf camp. It seems that this Apostle Paul is somewhat similar to himself in this regard. If he can find him, maybe he can recruit him. Although an evolver is not so precious in Wang Feng's eyes, this guy became an evolver by relying on himself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 129. This guy who relies on his own strength to become an evolver must be very extraordinary. Apart from other things, Wang Feng has personally experienced how terrible the biochemical beast is. He has apocalypse, so he can become an evolver by killing a biochemical beast. Others are definitely not so lucky. Perhaps the probability of a 3rd-level enhancer becoming an evolver is much higher than that of an ordinary person. This is basically certain. If every evolver needs to kill dozens or hundreds of biochemical beasts, then it is estimated that no evolver will appear. Killing zombies may also become an evolver, but that zombie basically needs to be of the level of a mutant zombie. First, Wang Feng does not think that there will be a second mutant zombie in Ganlin County. Second, Wang Feng knows that mutant zombies will never be killed by a 3rd-level enhancer alone. I had already become an evolver at the beginning, and there were so many 3rd-level enhancers to assist me, but I was in danger and almost died at the hands of that mutant zombie. So now Wang Feng is very interested in this Apostle Paul. Anyway, he doesn't have any clear goals now. Now he hopes that the base will send out a large number of search teams every day, but so far, no large number of zombie gathering places have been found. For the zombie groups of hundreds or thousands, Wang Feng is not interested at all now, so he will leave it to the Guardian Corps to deal with. The more zombies they kill, the more strengthening potions they can get from Doomsday, and the Guardian Corps will have more strengtheners. This is a virtuous cycle, and Wang Feng does not intend to destroy it. Although there have been some casualties among the guards who went out in the past 2 days, this is also a process that the Guardian Corps must go through. It is impossible for him to resist all the dangers. That is not conducive to the growth of these soldiers. They must grow rapidly in the battle with zombies to keep up with their own pace. Otherwise, in this cruel doomsday, what awaits them is only elimination and then being abandoned by this world. Okay. How many of us will go? Luo Kaying naturally agreed to Wang Feng's request. Being able to go out with Wang Feng, at least there is absolutely no problem in safety. Just take your team today, Wang Feng thought for a while and said. He planned that if he didn't find the Apostle Paul there, he would go to the mountains to see if he could find 1 or 2 mutant beasts or mutant plants, and Luo Kaying could continue to lead the search. His apocalypse points were not enough. Although the Guardian warriors would bring back some strengthening liquid for him to absorb every day, compared with the contribution of the 100,000 zombies and turtles, this strengthening liquid was a drop in the bucket. Of course, Wang Feng didn't think that he could kill a level 5 mutant beast again. He even prayed that he would never encounter a level 5 mutant beast again. Once he encountered a level 5 mutant beast in its prime, Wang Feng knew that unless he saw the other party, he would immediately launch a hurricane to escape. In this way, there might be a chance to escape. Once he hesitated, he might not have a chance to run, let alone kill the other party. Okay. It's time to eat. With the loud shout of a third-level enhancer, the people who heard it later also passed on the voice. Half a minute later, it had spread throughout the community. The community was suddenly filled with cheers, and then the sound of people drinking soup began to ring out. The sound of tens of thousands of people drinking soup together was spectacular. Wang Feng was also infected by this atmosphere. Just as he was about to find a bowl to hold the soup, a pair of delicate little hands appeared next to him, holding a bowl of turtle soup. The owner of the hand was of course Lu Wanting. Because there were many people around, she did not rush to greet Wang Feng. She only silently helped Wang Feng fill a bowl and brought it over after someone said that the soup was ready. Wang Feng was naturally not polite. He smiled at Lu Wanting, then took the soup and drank a sip. Lu Wanting also smiled and turned around to continue serving herself soup. Hey! Do you think the madman's bowl of soup will be particularly delicious? I think it will definitely taste better than mine, a third-level enhancer said sourly on the side. This enhancer is called Yu Feng Han. When he was killing mutant zombies, he was almost drowned by the zombies when he was leaving. Fortunately, Lu Feng appeared and saved him. I don't know if the madman thinks his bowl of soup will taste better, but I think the madman will definitely find that your combat experience is still insufficient. I will definitely give you a special treatment and train you separately later. The thin middle-aged man looked at Yu Feng Han and said gloatingly. This person is also a third-level enhancer who participated in the battle of mutant zombies. His name is Zhang Xiang. Although he is thin, he is a real power enhancer. He is very shrewd, doesn't like to show off, and doesn't like to talk much. Especially because he looks ordinary, no one pays special attention to him. He may be the most inconspicuous among the third-level enhancers. Maybe it's because the atmosphere of the whole community is quite good today, so he let go of himself and made a rare joke. As soon as Zhang Xiang finished speaking, everyone around him expressed their agreement. Whether they were second-level or third-level enhancers, they all looked at Yu Feng Han with envy and nodded. Yu Feng Han was stunned, and then immediately looked at Wang Feng with a bitter face. Hey! Crazy, you don't think so, right? And I heard that it's not advisable to do strenuous exercise when you have just eaten. Damn! What is intense exercise? Yu Fenghan's words made Wang Feng's head black line. Well, it's nothing, at most you don't eat too much. Anyway, there are so many people here, so there is no fear of not being able to finish it. After taking a sip of the soup, Wang Feng said lightly, your observation should be enough, but I don't know if your actual combat ability is equally strong, so let's give it a try. Yu Fenghan almost shed tears, thinking why is he so rude? Isn't this just asking for trouble? Remember, in the future, silence is golden, silence is golden, silence is golden. It's not right to say important things 3 times, it's already silent, why do you have to say it 3 times? Yu Fenghan instantly felt that his brain was not enough. Everyone present had a share of turtle soup, even the guards standing at the door had someone deliver it to them. The whole dinner lasted for an hour and a half and it was not over yet. In fact, many people's bowls had been empty for a long time, but they were still there, chatting casually with the people around them. Because everyone enjoyed the current atmosphere, no one wanted to leave. Even though it was dark, they still gathered around their respective fires, telling stories that were either real or fictional to people around them who they knew or didn't know. The flickering firelight reflected on the cheerful faces of these people. Their relaxed expressions showed that perhaps at this moment, they really forgot that they were living in a crisis-ridden apocalypse, no matter what their tomorrow would be like, and no matter how long they could survive in this apocalypse. At least, today, they were happy. In the apocalypse, they had suffered separations of life and death, as well as various hardships and despair. They all seemed to have forgotten that what they were telling others was the happiest thing in their lives. Forgetting the suffering of the past and not thinking about the crisis of tomorrow, it seemed that their lives were frozen in the happiest time of their lives. The bonfire gradually dimmed, and people finally realized that it was already late at night. So, the reluctant people began to say goodbye to each other, and the better they were with each other, they would tell him another happy story when they had time next time. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow. When the voices of people saying goodbye to each other reached their ears, all the enhancers on Wang Feng and Duan Lei's side froze as if they were struck by lightning at the same time. See you tomorrow, this was the most common farewell phrase before the end of the world, but its usage rate dropped sharply after the end of the world, especially ordinary people, who dared not easily say to others, see you tomorrow. Because, people living in the end of the world are a group of people without tomorrow, even enhancers dare not guarantee that they can still be alive tomorrow, not to mention those ordinary people who are struggling under the threat of death and the torture of hunger. So, when people in the end of the world say goodbye, the usual words are, goodbye, and more often, they just separate silently, without even a word of farewell. Anyway, maybe they will never see each other again, so why do they need to be so hypocritical and polite? In this increasingly realistic end of the world, people have learned to be real and abandoned hypocrisy, because in this world, there is no need for face, and no one will give up their chance to survive for any face. For a little bit of food, they may pounce on each other like wild dogs to fight for it, thinking that it is not only food, but also the hope that they or one of their relatives can live to tomorrow. When the fear of death weighs on them for too long, they will no longer be afraid, because their hearts are numb, and because of numbness, they are no longer afraid. Most ordinary people live more like animals than humans, because they give up thinking and just rely on their survival instincts, because when you have no power, thinking can't bring you any benefits at all. They are just using the instincts that all living things have, to continue life, without dignity, without honor, just a little bit of food and water to survive. Even if they are barely surviving, even if they can't see any hope, they will rely on this instinct to try to drag their lives to tomorrow. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 130. Early the next morning, Wang Feng stood on the top floor of the clubhouse, looking at the survivors who were already busy below. It seemed that after entering this community, Those ordinary survivors had forgotten the world outside where zombies were rampant. Because the guards went out to sweep every day, not to mention the surrounding area of this community, even the zombies in the entire Ganlin County were basically cleared out, and those guards also found some survivors who were still supporting in Ganlin County. All these survivors were brought back to the base and received by special personnel. After registration, they were assigned accommodation in the base and were also considered members of the base. Duanlei's standard for accepting survivors is not high, as long as they have not eaten human flesh. As for others, in this dark end of the world, who dares to guarantee that their hands must be clean? As long as these people can honestly obey the management of the base after entering the base can guarantee that they can live relatively safely. Of course, everyone must contribute to the construction of the base. I hope that the base will not support idle people. This is the most basic rule. The survivors who were rescued had already been smoothed by the apocalypse. After arriving at the base, no one wanted to be driven out. There was food, drink, and shelter here. Although the quality could not be guaranteed, at least people would not starve to death. Moreover, the most important thing was that there were no zombies here. The community was an absolutely safe place. Except for the guards who went out, they would pull a carload of zombie corpses when they came back to exchange points with the base for strengthening potions. It was basically difficult for them to see zombies, especially living zombies. Therefore, whether it was the first batch of survivors who moved into the base or the survivors who were rescued later, they all burst out with great enthusiasm here and tried their best to show themselves so that they could stay here for a long time. Now the talent registration office set up by Duanlei also has many talents in various fields. Duanlei classified them one by one. Some of them could be used now, such as engineering, water conservancy, electricians, etc. These people were immediately assigned jobs by Duanlei. As for the others who were not needed for the time being, Duanlei also registered them all and gathered them in a building to live, so as to facilitate future deployment. For the time being, he arranged some unskilled work for them, such as helping the guards to move things. The school has also been established, which is to slightly transform the kindergarten in the community, and then gather all the children under the age of 12 there, and train them by the guards. Because the base has just started, everything is difficult at the beginning, so first deal with teaching these children how to survive in the end times. The rest will be gradually improved later. Now Duanlei is busy every day and really has no energy to take care of these children. Wang Feng has been watching the busy crowd in the community until he found that Luo Kaying had brought a team of about 20 exploration people and was waiting for him at the south gate. Then he turned downstairs and prepared to set off. He did not go to Lu wanting to say goodbye, because Lu Wanting was rushing to work on the blueprint of her defense system these 2 days, and Wang Feng did not want to disturb her. Last night, Wang Feng handed over another 3,000 strengthening potions to Duanlei in his and Duanlei's room, because if he hadn't met the Apostle Paul this time, Wang Feng was going to go to the mountains alone, and it might take 2 days. Yesterday, more than 500 strengthening potions were exchanged. Of course, they were basically exchanged by the guardian warriors who went out to search. The other ordinary people in the base didn't have any chance to earn points quickly. Shen Yisan has already got her own strengthening potion. Now she and her daughter Niuniu have become strengtheners. At this time, Duanlei's care for her, the people around didn't say anything. One is that Shen Yisan has really helped Duanlei deal with a lot of things during this period. In addition, what Duanlei said is that everyone is working for Wang Feng. The strengthening potion belongs to Wang Feng. He can give it to whoever he wants. Don't talk about fairness or unfairness. Whether it is before or after the end of the world, there has never been any real fairness in this world. This is also a signal that Duanlei deliberately sent to these guys. Want benefits? Sure. Look at how they did it. Shen Yishan won't say anything. It's just a strengthening potion. The current situation of Lu Feng, Gui Wuovang, and Tang Haoshan is no secret among these second and third level strengtheners. Although Lu Feng has been there the longest, and Tang Haoshan just started his evolution process yesterday, at least these second and third level strengtheners know that when they wake up, they will become evolvers. Evolvers. That's the biggest pursuit of these strengtheners. Look at them. Lu Feng is with them, and everyone saw what he did during the battle with mutant zombies. Gui Wuovang also lost his arm to save Wang Feng. Tang Haoshan also went out with Wang Feng. It is said that he was injured by a big tree. In order to save him, Wang Feng also gave him an evolution potion, but Tang Haoshan has been busy with the base since he entered the base, which is also obvious to all. Others want evolution potions. That's fine. Learn from these people. Wang Feng came to Luo Kaying and the others and looked at Luo Kaying. This guy seemed a little excited, and his dark face looked red, but it was still not good looking. Let's go. Let's go to the workshop first. Wang Feng nodded to the people in front of him. Okay. Get on the bus. Luo Kaying waved his hand, and a group of people all got on a bus. Now the search team sent out by the base is almost a group of about 20 people, equipped with a bus, so that no matter whether they collect supplies or survivors, they can bring them back together. Of course, it may be more flexible and safer to drive a few off-road vehicles, but the fuel consumption will be a bit high. Now the fuel is a non-renewable resource. If you use it a little, you will have less. You can save as much as you can. The bus did not take the road that Wang Feng had been taking before, but drove in the opposite direction, because the workshop was to the east of Ganlin County, and the Black Dragon Bridge was to the northwest of Ganlin County. After the vehicle drove for more than an hour, the workshop that Luo Kaying mentioned had appeared in Wang Feng's sight, because the survivors in the workshop had already started to cook human flesh, so naturally there were no supplies in it. So yesterday, Luo Kaying and his team just piled up all the bodies and burned them, and then left. Because the door of the workshop was still open, the situation inside was clear at a glance. Wang Feng, who had opened his eyes, did not find any movement. Lao Luo. Stop the car. There is no one over there, no need to go over to look, just drop me off here, and then you can continue searching somewhere else. Wang Feng sighed and said, it seems that he will not see the Apostle Paul. Oh, Luo Kaying agreed, with a deep disappointment in his tone. They all knew what happened to Tang Haoshan yesterday. Originally, Luo Kaying hoped that something would happen today, and maybe he would be lucky enough to be injured, and then he would have a chance to become an evolver. This cannot be said that Luo Kaying is greedy, it is just human instinct. Everyone knows that in this Doomsday, the stronger the ability, the higher the chance of survival. Let's not talk about the distant past, just say yesterday, if the Apostle Paul had ill intentions towards them, maybe their team would have been wiped out in this small workshop. It would be fine if they had not come into contact with them before, but now that they have come into contact with Wang Feng and Lu Qiang, who are the evolvers, and see their powerful strength, no one would not be tempted. It's a pity that Luo Kaying's luck is bad today. Nothing came to trouble them along the way, so Luo Kaying's hope was shattered. Luo Kaying was just disappointed, and relieved in a blink of an eye. If there is no trouble, then there is no trouble. Anyway, he will stay in the Hope Camp forever, and he is not afraid of no opportunities in the future. If there is really no trouble in the future, wouldn't it be better? Since when did trouble become his pursuit? Luo Kaying cursed himself for being crazy, and stopped the bus and opened the door. After Wang Feng got off the bus, he jumped directly onto the roof of the bus. He looked around and still found nothing, so he jumped off the bus and waved to Luo Kaying, signaling them to leave. Watching Luo Kaying drive away the bus reluctantly, Wang Feng turned and looked in the direction of the mountain. This is a mountain range called the Black Dragon Mountain Range. According to ancient legends, there was a black dragon that descended from the sky and turned into this Black Dragon Mountain. Wang Feng simply scoffed at this legend. Let's not talk about why the black dragon ran here and turned into a mountain. The trend of this mountain is not right. The entire mountain range basically encircles all the jurisdictions of Black Dragon City, but the Black Dragon Bridge in the north and Jianguan Town in the south are a river and a sea, which have cut the mountain into two sections. In other words, the Black Dragon mountain range is actually two long mountains, sandwiching Black Dragon City in the middle. Could it be that this Black Dragon felt that it blocked the sea view, so it cut itself into two sections when it turned into a mountain? Even if it is a dragon, it can't survive if it is cut into two sections, right? Earthworms are almost the same. Wang Feng walked leisurely towards the Black Dragon Mountains in front of him. He was not in a hurry. He was not planning to go back today. Anyway, there was nothing for him to do in the base now. There were 4 evolvers sleeping now. If he wanted to turn others into evolvers, he had to wait until these 4 completed the evolution first.